It's lights out and away we go!
Everybody, and welcome back to the GT UK F1 podcast. I'm joined by David.
Hey everyone.
And Alan.
Hello.
He's
So,
back, folks. We apologise. We tried to keep him out.
I'll give good man
Obviously-
down.
yeah, it was a Chinese Grand Prix. But obviously, before that, it was it Saturday or was it Friday?
It was Friday.
Must have
20th,
been Thursday we learned of the news.
20th of March. So, obviously...
It was a Thursday
yeah, it was
because
a
it was the day
Thursday.
after we recorded.
Yeah. So obviously, Thursday, 20th of March, lost a bit of a legend within the sport. Unfortunately, that was Eddie Jordan. OBE, I might
I mean,
add.
anybody who listens to our content will know we were all quite big fans of his, talked about him a lot. And even for a rival podcaster, he was somebody we had a lot of time and respect for. And his death of cancer is a sad loss to the world, but especially the F1 community.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Point is, it was prostate cancer, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, it kind of hits home that, I'm going to say it, guys out there, get checked.
Mm.
Yeah.
He made...
So it's the one thing he could down negotiate.
Well, yeah, but it's like he said, even on, he ran Formula for Success alongside David Coulthard. And even he said on that, he was urging people to get checked when he come out about it. I mean, yeah, like, listening to that, he seemed very upbeat. He wasn't letting it get to him. But I think towards the end, within from sort of Christmas time, I think...
So his was very, 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 very aggressive prostate
Oh, yeah.
cancer, which isn't nice. Cancer's not nice at the best time, no matter what it is.
Correct.
But I think, as I said to you both, he's the sort of person that won't let it affect him. He will still march on. He will still do what he does.
Live every day to the fullest, sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's what everybody will, no matter who you are, especially in the F1 community, they will tell you he lived every day to the max.
Yeah, you gotta think. One of probably his recent greatest achievements was the fact that he brokered the deal for Adrian Newey to be where he is now.
Yeah. But you think he's one that brought in drivers like Schumacher, Brundle, I think it was Heinz-Harald Frentzen, He
Frentzen.
brought the drivers in.
And oh god, there was that other guy, wasn't there? But he got jailed because he ended up using
Pepper spray, and then
pepper
but Michael
spray.
Schumacher took his place.
Yeah.
But everyone,
And the thing is, it's like, even when they talked about it on F1 itself, he was always sort of either like wheeling and he was always sort of...
what he enjoyed doing.
Well, he was wheeling and dealing. He was a big music fan. Because obviously you guys know, you guys, I sent you that video on our Facebook.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's played drums, he's played spoons. And everything. And he'd sit in the back of the garage playing spoons, just calm himself down. Or just for fun.
Yeah. Well, I sent you that thing of the chain, didn't I? Was it the chain?
Yeah.
Of him playing the drums.
Yeah. And it was... Yes, he may never won a Drivers' World Championship or Constructors' Championship, but his drivers were he had that one too.
It
Which-
kind of was. They weren't the team to ever win constructor title.
No.
They were never a team that were going to fight at the top.
No.
But that doesn't make them any less valuable. Like I
Oh, no.
say, if anything, the legacy Jordan have is the amount of young drivers they managed to bring through.
Damon Hill.
Yeah.
Herbert, obviously our man Martin Brundle.
Because, Martin, maybe you're not driving them anymore, I suppose.
I
Yeah.
would put the full clip in, but Discord soundboard only allows you 5 seconds.
But it wasn't just drivers. He created. He brought in people with experience, from mechanics to engineers. He set up the teams, and a lot of them are still in the industry now.
Oh yeah, most of them are probably still Aston Martin.
Yeah.
But it was like I'd heard of I think it was Ted say or Crofty or one of them had said something that if they went up to somebody that worked for Jordan and they said, "Well, where'd you work?" they would just come out with Jordan.
Yeah.
And
Because I think he still had a big, even though when he obviously had no choice but to sell his last share. I think he always had some part of this. He always had some part of racing there. He always was part of a team in some way or another.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think he had part of obviously Aston Martin, which was originally Jordan.
Yeah.
I think he had some part of the something to do with the company. Wouldn't be the smallest amount, or he had a share in that company, maybe the smallest amount. But he still brought in a lot of people.
Oh, yeah. And you've got to look at. I mean, you've got to look at the cars themselves. The iconic yellow.
Yeah. What was it? It was the iconic yellow because he had to obviously back in them days, cigarettes were allowed to be sponsored on cars. So obviously it's the
Really?
Benson Hedges.
Not on that one.
Yes, he did have Benson Hedges on the other one because it was one of the ones for the Bumblebee.
It was also that was where the famous bitten and hisses came from.
Yep.
Yeah, but the bitten and hisses was because they couldn't mention the Benson.
If you weren't allowed
Hedges.
to advertise cigarettes, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was part of the Benson Hedges, but they couldn't have Benson Hedges actually on the car.
No, and they changed it. But as you said, it was the iconic livery from him, the yellow with the
Yellow
faces,
and black.
basically. Yeah.
Well, look how we had the Honda Civic Jordan edition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe they did a Honda motorcycle as well. Oh, the Civic Jordan, which was mid-90s at this point, because it was what they call the EK9 shape. Oh no, it was the one previous, sorry. I'm showing my nerd side here, but that was iconic bright yellow, and I think they fetch bloody good money now if you can find one.
But then you had the night, was it the 9-1? Was it 919 or 915? Which was that? It was one of the iconic Jordan cars.
There's currently no Civic Jordans on. There's currently no Civic Jordans on eBay.
So I asked him a question, and he just
No, I am listening.
completely
I
ignores
don't
me.
know them by model. I don't know them by model numbers.
It was either the 919 or the 915. I think it was the 919. But then there was the Sprite livery.
Yeah, which was the 191.
Or was it 7-Up?
Definitely was the green and blue.
7-Up won it.
7-Up, which was 191.
Do you know why the Jordan ended up with that livery?
Go on.
Because it was something to do with a concert that was being sponsored by Pepsi, and it didn't happen. So Eddie Jordan...
It was the 191, by the way, just to...
191, okay. And then basically Eddie Jordan ended it up with it on the car. I can't remember whose concert it was. I wonder if it was was it a Michael Jackson concert?
No, I'm looking. There's nothing to give it away, 'cause I've just got a picture of the car in front of me now, and there's... Did me
What's
my mic
the-
sneeze there? I thought I muted my mic.
No, we had you.
This button not... My mute button not working.
Don't forget, there's been updates. So you've got to sort out.
That's...
You've got to take the
Ah.
button off and then redo the button.
Okay, anyway, but
Um,
yeah, I'm looking at a picture of the car now, and there's nothing jumping out. I mean, it's got... I wanted to agree with because it's got Ireland on it, so I wonder if you managed to get sponsorship of Irish government or something.
The Irish Shamrock. I think it was one of the banks over there, which he used to work for.
Bank of Ireland or something. Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
Because obviously he was in the karting industry for racing industry beforehand back in the 70s. And then he was a bank teller.
oh,
Yeah.
And then obviously he wanted to get back into motorsport. He knew he wasn't going to make it into Formula One as a driver, but he wanted something. And obviously back then it was the F3. He's got back into to start off with before he jumped straight into F1. And then obviously that's where the iconic 191 came in.
Yeah, well, the
Yeah.
7-Up was to do with it was the Formula 3000 team because they'd lost Camel sponsorship as well. And the 7-Up corporate colour was green, and it tied in with the Japanese camera. So because they also had Fuji on at that point.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's why it got the way it did.
And
But
Tic Tac.
He's that 919 is just it's a car. It's a thing of beauty. Is that 919?
Oh yeah.
That 191. Sorry. Jesus
So
Christ.
191.
Dyslexic, but there we go. You know, and it's he built himself a legacy. Yeah, that was it. It was Gashaw. Yeah, Gashaw. Season was curtailed by a 2-month prison sentence for CS Gas CS Gas a taxi driver.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, as he said in the podcast, it wasn't because of that. He ended up in prison because he used Eddie Jordan's lawyers.
Yeah.
And then after starting off wanting to get him out, they realised how good Michael Schumacher was and then didn't want him to come out anymore. And Schumacher was clutched into Benetton, and the rest, as they say, is history.
He did the one race for Eddie Jordan and then went to Benetton, you know. And
Well,
but
he
you
didn't.
think to yourself,
Yeah, but he didn't
it
go.
wasn't-
He got poached by Benetton.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, but if Jordan hadn't brought Schumacher in, would we have seen Schumacher?
I think he would have got
Yeah.
to F1. Maybe things would have been different and we wouldn't have as many titles under his belt or something. I mean, I don't like the what if game in any stretch of the imagination because you can play it to the
Yeah.
9th degree. But I mean, you've got to say. Well, I guess the conclusion here is the mark he left on F1, the mark he left on the history of the sport, probably can't be overestimated.
No.
And the world is almost certainly a worse place without him in it.
He'd have been the type of guy you would have loved to have sat in a bar with and just had a
In
drink
Ireland,
with.
drinking Guinness.
The amount of
Yeah,
stories
and
he probably would tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, and he obviously brought F1 into Ireland, really.
Mm.
So, on that note,
So we're here to talk about the Chinese Grand Prix.
Yeah. On that
We're
note,
gonna
we'll get
move-
back to race.
We're going to move forward. Obviously, Alan saw practice 1. I didn't. David didn't. I mean, you said there was nothing special, correct?
No, because obviously it's been obviously sprint weekend. Obviously, today's only the one practice. So the cars aren't going out doing long fuel runs. It's just checking out certain tyres that they know they're going to be using over the weekend. Now, obviously, being a freshly laid track, resurfaced track, obviously, they need to get the data correct because it's brand new, basically. It's not been driven on yet. But there wasn't nothing that stood out to say, really. You know, Lando was quickest overall. But obviously, we know they don't run the cars at top speed. You know, the cars are always tuned down. You know, the engines always switch down a bit just to save them and everything else. But there was nothing that stood out. I mean, Max finished 16th. You know,
For all you know, cars that lower down have prioritised doing longer runs, more fuel, get that data.
yeah,
Well, you got to meet. I know. Firstly, if I was in that situation, I'd be the one who right at the end would just throw some softs on, bugger all fuel, just for the sake of saying, "Well, I'm fastest."
well, I think a few of them used. You know, they were using going between the softs and mediums.
They were trying to.
You know,
The problem was none of them used the hards, which was
no. But that's the thing, though. You couldn't really use the hard in a 1 hour session. You're not going to get the full data you want. Whereas they know with obviously the main two that they would obviously be using would be soft for qualifying and mediums for the race.
they had to obviously then they had. Yeah, but that didn't happen, did it? They had to keep
We'll get to that.
so many sets back
Yeah.
because of sprint qualifying.
Yeah.
Because they have to do medium, soft.
Yes.
I get why, but I don't know. But yeah, moving on to sprint quali. You saw sprint quali, David, yes?
I saw sprint quali. Yeah, not a lot plainly stood out to me other than the continued. The Ferrari's quick, and the continued struggles of Liam Lawson. I mean, I was going to bring this up later. Ironically, news reports have kind of almost said, but how many races do we reckon Lawson actually has? I'm thinking of opening a book.
I think originally he came in. I don't know where I seen it. It was during pre-season. That he actually only had 3 races to prove himself.
Basically, by Japan, he's done. Then.
Well, let's be honest. You say that unless he goes out and wins Japan 30 seconds clear of the rest of the grid.
See, the thing is,
is that going to really outdo the first 2 race results?
The thing is, though, he should do well at Japan because he
knows
The
Japan.
report are, he knows Japan very, very well.
I just... The problem is, I just don't want them to turn around and go, right, Yuki, get in the car, because it'll fuck Yuki's career up. I mean,
you don't want Yuki thrown under that bus.
Yuki could prove me wrong, but
the problem is, though,
there's something not right with that second car.
Because you would never thought Perez would have ended up how he did, because when he was in Force India, his performance,
exactly.
Yeah.
Something's not...
Obviously, the pressures of being Max Verstappen's teammate seem to come.
It's Albon, Danny Rick,
Kvyat.
Was Kvyat Max's teammate as well?
Yeah. Well, no, he replaced Kvyat, didn't he?
Yeah, well, that's what I mean.
Gasly at one point.
How many drivers have been Max's teammate?
Too many.
Danny Rick. Albon.
No, I think Danny Rick saw off Webber, didn't he? I don't think Webber ever was.
No.
So it was Danny Rick, was Albon,
Was it Gasly?
I don't think so. It was Danny Rick Albon, then Perez, now
He's had
Lawson.
5. So there's Lawson, Danny, from
Who was his
2016 to...
teammate? He was in Force India, wasn't he? Who was his
Yeah.
teammate at Force India? Maybe that's who you're thinking of.
No. There's been 5 drivers for Red. It's been his Red Bull teammate. There's been Danny Ricciardo, 2016 to 2018. Pierre Gasly in 2019.
Okay, I stand corrected. Well done, Alan.
Albon in 2019 to 2020, and then Perez from 2021 to 2024. So he's had 5. Now, if nobody could stand up to Max, I can't say that because Perez has had some brilliant things against Max. So, is it the driver? I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's the car.
Well, yeah.
I honestly think there's something
that
going
second-
on.
That
with
second
that.
car's never been the same as the number 1 car.
Yeah.
It was proven last year when, even the year before, Checo turned around and said, "There's something wrong with the car." And they turned around and said, "Well, there can't be nothing wrong with the car. Max is doing well in it. Why aren't you?" And then Red Bull finally admitted that there was something wrong with Checo's car.
It's weird, isn't it? It's...
The thing is, I just think
The only thing I can think... Go on.
they set him up to fail.
The only thing I can think of is that car was very much designed for Max's driving style, and he has a driving style unlike any other driver.
Yes,
Mhm.
but
Can you ever recall, was it Sainz said to Lando that the McLaren drove different?
Yeah.
When Sainz first left Lando, and he said to him, it's a very different car to drive. Now, obviously, cars are going to drive differently, but whether there's something about that Red Bull that suits Max, and Max can really perform in it, but it's at the expense of other drivers.
because I'm not being funny, but why would you set both cars up the same when the two drivers are completely different?
Well, you're always going to start. I assume you would start with like a baseline. You'll start with a basic setup, but then your drivers will tell you what they want out the car,
Exactly.
and then you start tailoring off in the direction that driver wants. Now, there's only so much you can do. If a car's been designed a particular way, and let's say, for example, you've got a car that's very loose on its back end, and it just naturally is. Some drivers can drive that. Some can really enjoy that. Some work. Some won't. Now, you're not going to take it all the way to the end of the drivers who don't, but you'll be able to do something towards at least getting them. Getting
They will find a balance within the car.
But, like I say, without studying a lot of things that I really don't want to, and figuring out Max's driving style is very aggressive. Very aggressive.
Really? I'll come on to something about that later on.
Now, the Red Bull clearly responds well to being treated that way.
Yeah.
It's a car that likes you to grab it and pull. Now, like I say, whether that's not where I was going, but yeah, we'll go with that for PG-13. Now,
you're just going to say grab by the balls, really.
Yeah, but whether they've yet to find another driver who truly likes cars that way.
But problem is, Max has even struggled. Max has struggled.
Yeah, but the trouble is, Max's struggle is third.
Well, we
not
know
20th.
Well, yeah, we know.
You know what I
that.
mean?
Yeah, but you've got to, like I said before, I don't bash drivers, but I'm happy that little bastard has been knocked down 2 pegs or more. Because he was cocky, he was arrogant before he wanted, because he pushed and pushed and pushed Christian to get that seat. He gets in that seat and he underperforms. It's like, thank you. There is a fucking God out there.
Are you talking about Max for a second then?
No, but it's true. He pushed Liam pushed Christian for that seat. They chose him over Yuki, and it's not paying off for them. I'm not being funny, Liam Lawson could really fuck Red Bull's Constructors' Championship up this year.
I think Red Bull could fuck their own constructors up, you know, and that's not just Lawson.
Well, don't forget they lost out. They lost out last year.
Yeah.
Don't forget, what was it? Third they came in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was because there wasn't that other car up there, and they can't just blame the driver for that.
Oh yeah.
Yes, Perez had a lot of not accidents, but misfortunes or underperformance. But in all honesty, I think it's the car. It's got to be the car. Why? Because
if it's a car, you can't sit there then and blame the driver, such as Lawson. If the car's not there, if he's not got the car, how can he perform? If he's not got the car, you know, you sort of.
because
Good shot, Alan. Good shot.
because he isn't performing.
But is that down to him or is that down to the car? That's the thing. And to me, the car's not there for him. Wasn't there last year. For me, Red Bull's downfall came when they lost Nui.
No.
I would disagree, and this is where I think I've come under through a lot of people. We are not going to see the true extent of Nui's leaving.
Till 2026. At least.
26. But I don't think that's... Because this car is basically the development of last year's car, which was the Newey-based car anyway. It's why, by your logic, Alan, in that case, the Aston Martin should have bounced straight to the front.
No, because technically Nui doesn't start there until the 1st of April.
Yeah, and he isn't already. But well, I'll tell you what. If the next race after
He
that,
started there in March.
Or was it the 1st of March? I thought it was 1st of April. Could have been
No,
1st of March.
March.
I do apologise.
you know, it's. I wish I could give a good answer. I mean, unless we can get Christian on the podcast. Which, if you're listening, Christian, hit us up. I promise you, we'll take his soapbox off him. I promise.
Yeah,
But do you see what I mean, though?
I'd rather have Christian on the podcast than Helmut Marko. Put it that way. Oof, there would be war.
Bugger, that's next week's special cancelled. It's going to be him and Liam Lawson for a special.
Yeah. But obviously you sat there and said, you know, obviously Liam's not doing so well. But if he's not got the car, how can he prove himself?
It also comes to what I've said before, actually, where
Quite easy.
putting drivers straight from F2 into the top car. I'm not a big fan of that, whereas I've been proven wrong rarely, but I mean, Antonelli's not doing so bad, but at the same time,
Yeah, but you've got to look.
I'm willing to admit I've been proven wrong on occasion, but normally it's not. You put them into a lower grid car for a couple of years.
Yeah.
It's like,
I think Hadji's
Bearman.
got the right idea. Hadji's gone to obviously Racing Bull.
Mm.
You know.
Well, you got like Bearman in the Haas.
Yeah.
Now he performed well in that Ferrari at Jeddah for a one-off. Don't get me wrong, but it was a Ferrari that pretty much you kept you on the tarmac. You were going to be top half at grid.
Yeah.
But 2 or 3 years in the Haas, learn the trade. Then Hamilton decides to step back. Boom, Ferrari seat there, and he's got experience. I think we'd have a very good driver on our hands.
unless the Chuck Guan usual.
I doubt they'd throw him straight into a Ferrari. They're more like, I think the
Dude, he's
better
a
one would
fucking
put
reserve
Bearman in the
driver
front.
Ferrari.
I know it. That means nothing.
He's
You know that these days.
but he's the reserve and development, like Bottas is with
Yeah.
Merck.
Yeah, I agree, but it still doesn't mean. I still think the best plan would be put him in the Haas and put Bearman into the Ferrari. We're talking a season or two away.
See, I still hear.
But either way, this somehow was a conversation about spring qualifying. Believe it or not.
But you opened the soapbox too early.
So sprint quality, obviously Ferrari looked quick.
Alpines didn't.
Norris couldn't just. Norris just was struggling with that car.
Yeah, I was
He was
about to-
fine in practice, but they changed something in the setup, and it just didn't work.
Because he was very.
Meanwhile, Oscar seemed on it. I think Oscar felt he had a point to prove after Australia.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's part Chinese, isn't he? There was a discussion in the drivers' conference.
Yeah, I saw something about it after the race.
Yeah, how he.
They asked him to say something in Chinese, didn't they? And yeah,
Yeah.
you could hear the crickets.
The thing is, have Alpine made a good choice as well right now?
Well, do an out-qualified Gasly. I'm kind of willing. Australia, I try not to relive. It was the first race of the season, and those conditions were treacherous. When you see Sainz and Alonso go off the track backwards.
Yeah.
So for them lads, you see more from this weekend. Plus, I bet there's a lot of nerves. That'd be your first ever F1 race.
Yeah.
I bet they'd not shit for 3 days beforehand.
First F1 race, tricky conditions. Welcome to
The likes
Formula
of
1.
Doohan, he wasn't doing a New Zealander as well.
Yes.
So he's the nearest he's ever going to get to home soil.
I says Mick Doohan's son.
He's a New Zealander in different way, I understand.
So,
I believe so.
sure.
So, you know, a lot of pressure on him for that race. Now at China you see him sort of settle down a little bit more.
Oh no, he's an Australian apparently.
Well, he's an Aussie, fair enough.
That was his home, technically his home Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, for some reason I meant it was New Zealander, which would have meant it was
Oh, that's Lawson.
basically his home Grand Prix.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
never
I was
looked
going to say
around.
it's actually Lawson. Yeah.
I could say Lawson's the Kiwi.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough.
Lawson's
Not
the
bad.
Kiwi. Doohan's another Aussie. They've got like 2 Aussies on the
Oh,
grid now. Could have been 3 if they'd
Right.
kept Danny Rick.
We'll see him back next year.
We're driving a Cadillac. Why am I just picturing the Cadillac to be 3 times bigger than all the other cars on the grid? Just
I mean, Yuki had a point to prove. Clearly.
yeah.
Yuki had some
Yuki's always had a
form
point.
of point to prove.
He's always had a point to prove, though. You know, he's one of the shortest F1 drivers, and they stick him at the back of a grid photo shoot. You know, in front of George Russell, who's one of the tallest F1 drivers. You know, kind of defeats the object, really.
The fucking T-pose over there.
Never going to live that one down, is he? Brilliant. Ironically, my Facebook memories came up. It must have been a year ago today, must have been the Australian Grand Prix last year. Because it was a picture of his car on its side and the shot from Toy Story of Woody lying on his side. And spot the difference, level impossible. So it must have literally been it must have been either a year ago today or a year ago yesterday. It must have been the Australian Grand Prix.
So, like,
Well,
I don't know, the Aston Martin seemed to struggle. Or Alonso particularly.
So, well, that's a month because as much as we hate him,
Yeah, don't
Stroll
even...
actually did better
No.
than
Yeah.
Alonso in spring qualifying. You know, he out qualified him.
yeah. You know, strong performance from Kimi, got himself up into 7th.
Yeah,
And then the rest of the grid.
I think
one that's not really been spoken about as much is Russell. He's
But
actually
they said that, but so far this year,
Again.
Russell's sort of been the silent protagonist.
yeah.
He's
Well,
chugging away solidly.
The
I mean, I'm
thing
just
is-
all avoiding talking about Hamilton, which I'm quite enjoying, but
the thing is,
We'll get to that.
Russell has a point to prove. He does have a point to prove because he wants to lead that team. But the problem is, it's the same with Lando as well. The There's just little mistakes creeping in.
Yeah. Russell's had a history of that, though. We've
Still.
talked about that before.
Oh, we know. But I just think Antonelli is... I don't know what type of... I don't know what sort of point Antonelli is trying to make right now. But... Is he trying to take the...
I think he's just showing that he can, drive with the best of them.
Well...
Which,
yeah.
I'm not being funny, he's not doing a bad job.
Oh, I know he's not doing a bad job. He's definitely not doing a bad job. I mean, considering when he first appeared at Monza in the Mercedes and binned it, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to win a race this season. I'll be honest. But he'll have that mid-table. He'll finish in the mid-range, but yeah.
If the dice fell his way, if him and George were in a decent position, and the dice fell their way, I reckon Merc would, depending on George's position within the Drivers' Championship at that point, probably push Kimi to get a win.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously we then get on to the sprint race.
And then, you had Max in second, and then out of nowhere, you had Hamilton on pole. But considering Leclerc was fourth, Leclerc seemed to... I don't know if Leclerc's struggling or if there's some sort of... not mind games as such, but has Hamilton joining Ferrari, has it bugged not bugged Leclerc as such, but put a bit of pressure on Leclerc to perform.
I think it would be with any team that somebody like Hamilton actually joins,
Mm.
Whether it's Ferrari, Williams, McLaren, I think there's always that, pressure of, you're driving up against a 7-time world champion. He's been in this sport long enough now to know what he's doing. So there's always going to be that. Yeah, every driver struggles at some point.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, there's always going to have that little pressure to start off with that your teammate is somebody like Hamilton.
Telling that to Russell. That's the thing. Look at the difference. Look when Russell joined Mercedes. He was not sitting back against Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
It just feels that way with Leclerc at times, that he's sitting back against him. He's not as... I don't know, he just doesn't seem as fighty like he did with Sainz. Him and Sainz were scrapping the shit with each other. Just, yeah. Leclerc just seems just to sit back a bit. And I wish, and I am going to say it, yet again, the broadcaster, who the fuck did they focus on most throughout the race and stuff like that?
They always focus on most.
I saw a lot of Hamilton. Not during the sprint race, but during the actual race, I saw a lot of Hamilton being shown. Other than, we hardly fucking saw anything of Piastri once in, They just seem to focus on Hamilton a lot on this move to Ferrari, and it's like, look, we get it. He's in a Ferrari. Concentrate on other stuff. because there was a lot of good stuff going on, and
Yeah.
they were just getting. You're just seeing it on a little fucking screen, a little screen on the side, and it's like, yeah, okay, we're gonna get replays, but I don't know. There was just a bit, yeah. I mean, okay, we'll get onto the sprint race, but yeah, I don't know. It was just there just seems to be too much on Hamilton within just because he's
That should
moved.
die
for-
down once.
You hope. Fucking hell, it's
I
always
mean,
gonna-
the main,
it's
the
gonna
main
be
race, the reason I focus on Hamilton so much is obviously because of the result from the actual sprint race.
But I just found the sprint more exciting than the actual race, to be honest.
I was gonna say, yeah, it really was, wasn't it? The sprint. I've told you, in my ideal F1 world, every weekend would be a sprint weekend. I love it when the engineers don't get enough time to fully practice.
I mean, unfortunately for Doohan, he didn't. He unfortunately didn't have a good sprint race because he ended up getting that penalty, didn't he?
10-second penalty.
Yeah, 10-second post-race time penalty for causing a collision.
Which I do wonder, how the hell did Lawson not get a penalty for his so-called overtake?
He did a couple of them.
Yeah, and that's.
I think did it Crofty put it? Was he trying to overtake him or wear his car?
and
Yeah.
This
Because it was like something me and Alan would.
would do, yeah. It
Yeah.
was a bit of. There's getting your elbows out, and there's overstepping
Getting your elbows
that
out, he
mark.
went in up to the shoulder.
That's what I mean. There was, that wasn't. I think if Max had done something like that Lawson did, I think he'd have been looked at for it.
I mean, any driver does something like that, and it's been proven.
It was on.
Do something like that, then you gonna get penalised, and it did happen with Durham.
It was but it was shot on replays. I just don't understand why it wasn't picked up by race control or anything. Or was it picked up by race control, but it didn't? It ended up getting no further action.
I think it was no
I think he
further
saw it
action.
noted, but I don't think I actually saw anything more come of it than that.
I just don't understand how he got away with that. I don't. If that, like I said, if that had been Max or any other driver, they'd have been in a little bit of trouble for it. Don't understand why he got away with it.
I mean, Lando was lucky in the race. He could have finished a lot lower down than what he did.
We're going about the race or the sprint race?
Sprint race.
Yeah.
He just seemed to struggle, didn't he? Just didn't seem to be able to fire the tyres up.
I don't know, he got mugged. I just feel like he got mugged.
No, I mean, he made that mistake on the first lap.
Which was his own fault.
Which-
but-
Yeah, and I think that put him on the back foot, being in the middle of the pack, where we know the car's stronger than that. It sort of put him on a back foot,
Hmm.
and he was sat behind Stroll for so long. Which didn't help him. Now, obviously, we know that all the cars that weekend were struggling with the medium tyres on that race.
Yeah.
Especially when you're sat behind other cars, you get the dirty air, you can put more pressure on your tyres and everything else. So that doesn't help.
No, but it was a little bit weird that the mediums, they weren't lasting.
No, and I think a lot of that was obviously it was a freshly resurfaced track. Normally, a lot of tracks they do certain sections, but they did the whole thing. And the only really support race they had was the F1 Academy. There may be a couple of other races, I'm not sure. Plus the heat, and obviously, we're not used to being in China at this time of year.
No, China always was early. Japan that's moved around.
Japan was
You know.
moved around. China was
China was always like second or third on the calendar.
no, well, it was a little bit later on.
Was it? I always thought it was still fairly early.
so-
Japan must come from right at the back of the calendar to the front.
Yeah, Japan's been shifted.
Well,
they're trying to,
Japan
the problem is with Japan is
last
they're trying to mess with the weather. They're trying to beat the weather and not have a repeat of last year.
yeah. Well, last year Japan was the 4th race of the season, and China's 5th.
Was
Yeah.
it? No, I thought Japan last year was the back end of the season.
No, straight after Australia. It was
Christ.
Bahrain,
I bet
You got to think it was Bahrain, Saudi.
Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I just, like we say, Oscar definitely had a point to prove.
Yeah. Lewis obviously got that monkey off his back, which I didn't expect to come that soon.
Yeah, to be honest, I kind of expected Oscar to get him.
I expected Max, at one point where Max was closing him down at a fairly good rate.
Yeah.
Clearly must have burnt a good chunk of tyres doing it.
Yeah, and I think that was a problem he had, was obviously the tyres went.
And obviously,
And you can
know,
tell that when Oscar caught him quite quickly towards the end, and his tyres dropped.
I mean, it's too early to say, but Sauber are not having much luck right now.
Well, they've already got more points than they did last season.
Yeah.
So by that token, they're doing amazing.
Obviously, Sainz had a bit of a difficult sprint.
Yeah.
Basically, we can overstate this. Because if they're part of my fancy team, they didn't have a good weekend.
Yeah, that's about right.
In the theme of
Got to say that as well.
But again, yes, okay, it was only 19 laps, but it was actually an interesting 19 laps.
So there's more action in that.
Hmm.
So did you see qualifying or not, David?
I didn't know.
Right.
I didn't. Sorry, just with the time I had of the weekend, choices had to be made, and qualifying, I'm afraid, didn't.
So it's going to be me and Alan on this one then.
I mean, I'm looking at the results in front of me now. Obviously, just to qualify, not the grid, because that can change. But obviously, Lawson dead last.
Yep.
Standing out to me is Isaac Hadjar getting up to 7th.
I mean,
You know what he's doing? He's doing
He's
quite.
an
He missed
uncle,
out
he
in
was
the
left
first
with
race.
quite a point to prove, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And
No,
I think
no.
not only with what happened, but then Chris's favourite guy's comments afterwards didn't help the situation. Hang on, did somebody left a Minecraft villager in?
then where was what I mean? Where was Ferrari?
5th and 6th, mate. I've got the sheet in front of me.
Yes, but considering the pace that Hamilton had during
Yeah,
that
I
sprint,
think-
he should have been at the top of that. He should have been at the top.
Yes, I agree. But obviously, a lot of teams take the sprint as a chance to have a look
That's
at
it.
the setup.
Because now the cars come out of Park Fermé between the sprint and regular qualifying, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah, so they know then they can make certain changes to improve the car, and a lot of teams do. McLaren being one of them.
Mercedes maybe, but yeah, no, Ferrari sort of slipped back. Obviously, that's the first time Hadjar's. Was that the first time Hadjar out qualified Yuki?
I believe so, because I think he was at. Let's have a quick check.
Have a look. Australia qualifying.
Yeah, because Australia
Yuki
had
was
I think,
fifth and Zhao
11th.
was 11th. So yes.
Technically, discounting sprint qualifying, it's 1-1 between them then.
Yeah.
Even qualifying. And, you know, what was going on with Sainz and the Williams?
Mm.
I don't think the car was there for him.
While Albon's performing, Sainz
Yeah.
is really struggling to settle in now. Maybe it'll come. I hope it'll come through in time. But he seems to be struggling to settle down into that car.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, you know, you saw like even in Australia, in the practice, one of the practice sessions in Australia, he topped the timesheets. Now, whether, you know, yeah, okay, it's a different car for Sainz, and obviously Sainz and Albon, that second car won't be suited around Albon, you know, to fit Albon's driving style, because Sainz has a completely different driving style to Albon.
I think that's what it could be down to. Obviously, Sainz's driving style, is it suited for Williams?
Maybe not. We're going back to what we were saying about
Yeah.
Lawson here.
But I reckon he'll get. I reckon within the next couple of races, once he's settled in more better, I reckon it'll be completely different.
It's
just
with Sainz, I just think he just, you know, you've got to think he's gone from Ferrari to Williams. You know, he's gone from, I can't say a powerhouse, but a completely different setup of how that car is to what the Williams is. And I just, Sainz took that on as, well, joining Williams as like a project, shall we say, because I don't know the exact right words. You know, he wants to bring Williams back up to where Williams should be. And I think he will. I think he'll do it. It's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be a quick, right, 5 races and Williams are now scrapping at the top with the leaders. But give it, you know, use this season as a, to get his feet in, you know, to get used to everything, how everything operates and all that lot. But then the regs and everything are changing in 2026 anyways, and that's where the real work will begin.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I just, as much as I'm going to say it, Stroll needs to go. Aston Martin needs somebody else alongside Alonso. They can't keep trying to push Lance as a number 1 driver, because he's fucking not.
He's performing best than Alonso at the moment, and that's...
Yes, but Australia wasn't Alonso's fault. Really?
Well, it kind of was. He threw it at the wall.
Oh, yeah, but
he's a sprint racer. You know, Stroll finished higher than Alonso.
Yes, but maybe
only by 1 position.
Yeah,
but
was there a bit of play involved in that? Because they were both out of the points, but was it because maybe Stroll was a bit quicker, they swapped him?
Well, no, Stroll was always ahead of Alonso throughout the whole race. Throughout the whole sprint race, Sainz was ahead of him.
Who?
Stroll, was ahead of Alonso all the time. And, you know, because he was fighting Norris most of the race.
Well, I don't know. I just think it's time to get, like, Drugovic into somebody else. Give somebody else a chance alongside.
Well,
just
you're saying that for 2 or 3 seasons, but
alongside Alonso. Yeah, it's not going to happen. As long as his dad owns that team, Stroll will remain within that team until he probably gets
correct.
bored. And that's seat blocking,
The problem.
really.
You know, as I said before, you could trade out about a few on the grid. Let's see to one of those in it. I agree with you, but
Yeah, but if you've
Kind of is
noticed,
what it
if you've noticed, there's a lot more rookies come through.
oh
You
yeah,
know, there was a chance for another rookie to come through in Aston Martin, but that's not going to happen because who would they replace? They would get rid of Alonso. And
although I'm not saying it's the right action, but it'll be Alonso.
well, we know it'd be Alonso going, but it shouldn't have to be that way. You know what I mean? Shouldn't just have to be because he is the son of the team's owner that he gets that seat. If there's somebody there to prove the worth, shouldn't get rid of. If Alonso was up scoring podiums again and all this lot, really, getting in the results, yeah, fine, keep Alonso. If Stroll was underperforming, you'd be looking elsewhere. But none of the advisors would dare probably speak up to Lawrence Stroll and say, look, Stroll is
He's not good.
Lance is underperforming. I think it's time we switch him out. Because I bet you he can't do it, but I bet you he would say that, he would use the job against him. Can't do it by law, can't do that. But that's my fear. That's my feeling that he would do that because somebody has spoken up about him.
But yeah, back to what we were talking about qualifying.
Kind of a point I had to make, though. But yeah, like we said, Gasly had a shocker.
Yeah,
But is that Alpine, just continuing on from last season?
I think they finished strong compared to where they started last season.
Yeah, but they've gone downhill again. Literally gone
Well, the
downhill.
only way is up, though. Yeah, the only way is up.
You want to bet?
or out the door,
Because I really do wonder what Briatore is really thinking right now. I do wonder. Actually, no, I don't.
Why the hell did I come back to this shite?
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, with more of an Italian accent. I'm not going to do it because I will be deeply offensive.
More just a mumble like he does.
Well, me or Briatore at this point.
Briatore.
Both.
Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
I wasn't going to be insulting, but there we go.
I was being honest.
Why
should
were
I
you not
change?
going to be insulting? Who are you and what have you done with Chris?
Why should I change?
Either they've made a either they've screwed up already with that car, or they're not bothering with that car because of 2026.
I think there's quite a bit of stuff people are working on 2026 cars. I think, like I said it before this season, you're not going to see a lot of development this year.
You'll see very small developments, I reckon. Because you've got to think as well, where Merc are now, I reckon they'll do a small development. Red Bull will do a small development. Williams would possibly do some... Wow. Yeah.
I mean,
Williams.
Hulk's doing well on Zach Sauber.
Yes, but that we figured. To be honest.
If Bortatello's not performing terribly, I don't think.
No, I mean,
Bortoletto isn't unless he gets crushed into.
I mean, this race he actually finished ahead of Hulkenberg. Okay, only by 1 place, but still 1 place.
Overall, qualifying was just, you saw a lot of teams had done changes because, like I say, Ferrari's pace was just didn't
Yeah.
seem there. Merck, yeah. McLaren definitely. Max, well, he's just trying his best at this point at the moment. Fair play to Hadjar and Antonelli. And, Yuki. I mean, that'd have been a little bit of bitter pill for Yuki to swallow, being out-qualified by Hadjar, but I don't think it affects Yuki too much. Probably being beat by Antonelli, then maybe, but...
And the fact he's finishing ahead of Lawson pretty reliably, he's probably feeling pretty good though.
Yeah, I bet.
So Hadjar actually out-qualified Yuki by a good half second.
Mm.
As you know, Hadjar had a point to prove.
Oh, yeah.
And bounced back for, proving a point against a certain person who I won't mention. And if you two mention, you will not be allowed on this podcast again. Don't.
If only it was that simple.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know.
If getting kicked off the podcast was that simple, then...
You'd miss it too much, David. You'd miss it too much. But looking through the starting grid, it was it was a mixed up grid, apart from the two Ferraris deciding to go 2x2. But the rest of the grid was very on the Aston Martins. But apart from that, it was a very, very mixed up grid.
Yeah.
Which I think I put down to largely the lack of testing time, which is what I say is why I like stuff like that.
What happens in Japan now? I mean,
Oh.
honestly, who got driver of the day? I want to know that because I didn't see it. Really?
Yeah,
Antonelli, yeah.
All right. I didn't see that, so.
My vote actually went for Oscar, but I don't disagree with Antonelli.
No, and again,
No.
he's performing really well. I don't think you can't take that off him. He's finished in the points again.
Yep.
And I reckon he'll carry on finishing in the points for the rest of the season. No shadow of doubt. Unless something really dramatic happens.
When you consider that Mercedes are sat second in the team standings right now.
Yeah.
Without one consistency. So the fact that Merck without one standout good result, they've not had a win, they've not really had a top result, yet they're there, say, second in the championship.
Yeah.
Because unlike some of the other teams, they've got both drivers up there scoring points week in, week out.
They were, obviously we can't really, McLaren.
Alpine yet to score.
Well, McLaren, obviously, Australia. Oof. That could have been interesting if that had gone wrong. But
One thing I noticed, actually, I never noticed during the race, is that Doohan got a timed 10-second penalty for forcing the driver off the track. So he got one in the sprint and in the race. I'd be surprised if that doesn't get the FIA's attention.
Yeah.
You know, because he got a penalty in the sprint for causing a collision, then a penalty in the race for forcing a driver off the track.
How did he force off then?
I can't remember.
I think it was either
Lawson.
Bortoletto or Lawson.
It
I
was
think there was
one-
an
it
instance
was
between
either- yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Was it between one of them two?
I think it was Bortoletto.
No, I thought, didn't he do wasn't there a coming together? Wasn't that the sprint with Bortoletto? And he spun him round? Or was that the race?
Oh, that was at the end, I think.
Hmm.
I think that was a sprint at the end. Literally, at last lap, won it. Come down the straight at the hairpin straight.
Yeah. So a lot of the rookies, I'm not even classing Ollie Behrman as a rookie, if I'm honest. A lot.
But you can say that about Lawson. Is he a rookie because he's actually driven in F1?
Mm.
I think I stumped him there for a minute.
Okay, class him as a rookie. But the problem is the F2 cars and the F1 cars probably will handle a lot differently. And plus, there's a lot more power in an F1 car than there is an F2 car. I think that's where they're struggling. And one interesting note I am going to say is things could have gone very differently for Norris.
Oh, aye.
So, obviously, Alonso DNF because one of his brakes caught on fire.
Yeah.
Yep.
Leclerc's car was underweight, even though he'd probably fixed the front end plate that he was driving around with.
No, they didn't fix it though, did they?
Yeah, but I think
No,
at the end of the race, they're allowed to put on a matching part for the weight purposes.
Yeah, they are. But he was still
A kilo underweight.
Kilogram underweight.
Yeah, that's where the tolerances are. You know, you can't say, oh, well, it's only a kilo, we'll let him off, because then where do you draw that line?
Yeah, they just needed to add more water.
Damn it, I've taken that soundbite out to put the Eddie Jordan one in. You bugger.
Obviously, Gasly
Was also
Gasly
underweight.
underweight or was his plank?
Underweight.
Okay. But
Was he
Hamilton's
underweight or was his plank? Take that one out of context, ladies and gentlemen.
Hamilton's was the
Okay,
plank was
just-
plank wear.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Let's add that to the words of wisdom.
Oh, he
I took the
didn't.
other one out.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
And Hamilton was for wear on the skid blocks.
Yeah, the plank.
So many comments I could follow that with, but I'm not going to.
You. Yeah.
But yeah, where was the Saubers? Nowhere really. Apart from a bad I don't know. What the hell was their decision with Yuki?
You mean the Racing Bulls, not the Saubers at this point?
No, but the Saubers were nowhere. But what was the decision with Yuki? I said. What the hell
You
was
said
that?
what was their decision with Yuki, implying that you were thinking the Saubers did something to it.
No. What was the team's decision about Yuki? That screwed him.
It's just a case of trying something different.
I think a lot of teams that did obviously because the race was obviously either going to be a one stop or two stop. They weren't sure. And I think those that did two-stop actually made it worse for themselves.
I mean, fair play to Ocon, is all I will say.
Oh, yeah.
And okay, yeah, he outdid Ollie, but
It's a good performance for Haas, you know. It's got to be
that's
always
what I
taken
mean.
as a.
Yeah.
I mean,
also-
both Haas is in the points.
Yeah.
Both Williams in the points. Oh, well, one with a point, and but it wouldn't have been if
The disqualifications hadn't taken place.
yeah.
But that's one of those you can't. You got to take the
No.
result as a result. You can't say
No, I know.
it's only because of disqualifications. As I always say, the scorecard doesn't say how you got there.
Because obviously,
I mean, they need.
what?
I don't know if you noticed it during the early stages of the race, was the fact that Oscar had to slow down. So Lando catch up so that way they could use both cars together.
Well, probably to give him DRS and keep him away from Max and all that.
It was to try and keep
Yeah.
him away, but the problem is, and that's the thing, Oscar's a team player, is what I'm going to say. Oscar is a team player. Compared to Lando, where Lando turned around and said, we'll tell him to catch up then. Sort of thing.
Yeah, I get that, but obviously, I think in that incident, which is obviously from last year, they basically were going to swap the drivers over. Now, whether you agree with it or not, you're out leading the race by 9 seconds. You've got to slow down to let your teammate pass. Because he did the first part of the race, so therefore, all from the start, so therefore he can carry on leading the race and win it. Was that a bit harsh on Lando? Possibly, yes. So I understand why Norris was like that.
Yeah, but wasn't that in was that in Australia?
Hungry.
Hungary on it, yeah. You've also got to think the difference between then and now is at the time, it was looking like Lando was going to be in the championship battle.
Yeah.
Oscar wasn't. Now, at this point in this season, we're too early to be calling them things. Yeah, I said at the time, if Lando had lost that World Championship by a couple of points or something, they'd look back at that Hungary and think that's where
Oh yeah.
they threw it away. You know, whether that's correct or not, that's definitely how it would look to anyone
So
who didn't know the full context.
you know, Max qualified 4th and finished 4th.
Again, Russell finishing third.
But that was. I still say there was a bit of strategy. So you did, yeah, but you didn't hear much about Russell during the race.
But he didn't last week.
No.
I said Russell's been sort of just silent in the middle of the pack. That's not been his.
And even Martin Tyrone said, he's there, but we're not talking about him. And, you know, if in a way, it's wrong because they're not talking about him. You know, he's there. He's doing well.
He's doing exactly what he needs to do.
Yeah.
He's just not making a massive song and dance about it. Like I say, if Mercedes keep on the way they're going, they could be an outside sort of championship threat.
Yeah.
Are you on about drivers or are you on about constructors?
Both.
Well, both, really, yeah. I mean,
Well, Russell,
from what I recall,
Russell's a point.
it has been happening.
Russell's a point behind Max at this moment in time. Max
Exactly, so they're far from out of it.
is Math's not good. Lando's 44, Max is 36. But Oscar,
8.
Eh?
8 points.
Oscar's rising up and all. I think Australia did Oscar some damage as well there. Oscar
Well, yeah, I mean,
Oscar will
he's
be
got
higher
1
up.
or 2 points. Yeah.
But problem is with sprint
But
weekends.
when you see the thing is, you see the likes of Albon sat in 6th.
Yeah.
You know, and it's even Ollie has got 4 points.
Sainz has got a point to his name.
Yep.
But it's, I don't know, the if you notice, we're not talking much about the race because the race wasn't good.
Yeah.
There was nothing much, you know.
Maybe it's sort of slightly jaded by the fact that Australia was the excitement. It was that this was a bump back down to earth.
Yeah.
Like I said, the sprint race was more exciting than the race.
Yeah.
And
Well, the thing is, there wasn't a single safety car. There wasn't a virtual safety car.
there was yellow flags, but they were for here, there, or whatever.
You know. Yes, okay. Leclerc lost his side end plate.
Yuki had to get
On the very first lap.
Yuki had to get a front wing because it broke.
It exploded.
Yeah, it broke in a really weird fashion. I don't think I've ever seen one fail like that in.
It was just going down the road and it broke.
Oh, so he just literally come onto the start straight. I think it was.
Yeah, but it broke. It's sort of like because it dropped from the middle, but was still attached at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Because when they took it off the car is when it actually fell apart.
Well, they
fully.
struggled to get the wing off, and they ended up snapping that bit off, didn't they? Or
No, I think it fell off.
Whatever.
I think it fell off as he hit the ring, but it's sort of like, yeah, I've never seen one fail like. I mean, that's going to go onto YouTube compilations along with that time that was the Toro Rosso's brake disc exploded, wasn't it?
Oh, was that Buemi?
Buemi.
Both front tires literally just went poof.
Yeah, as the brake drums just exploded. It's going to be up there with that.
Yeah. Which
it was, there was no contact. There was nothing there. Everything you can say was it going over the curbs?
Yeah.
That caused the vibration from the curbs has caused it to weaken and it split that way. That's the only thing you could say. But it's still weird because those cars are used to going over curves and the vibration but yeah.
Well, for all we know, there could have been like a bit of stone or rock kicked up at it that just weakened it or something. Obviously too small for us to see on camera, but
yeah.
Oh yeah, but like I said, it just seemed a weird way to.
It was definitely rather unusual.
And Alpine need to score, otherwise already they're gonna have a long way to catch up. Alpine are the only team that are pointless right now.
But as we said, the only excitement was actually after.
Yeah,
actually, there was one other thing, and that was Ollie Berman when he overtook Lawson. Chow.
Yeah. Oh, he was chowing quite a few of them with Behrman.
He did it a couple of times to drivers when he was overtaken. It was that Chow, and even he doesn't know where that came from. It was just heat at the moment.
Just a piss take. It got people's attention.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, as we were saying, the only exciting bit was actually after the race when 3 cars were disqualified.
I'm surprised you're
Yeah,
not
it's a rare
spitting.
receipt.
I'm surprised he's not spitting his fucking dummy out here, though.
Who, me?
Who?
Yeah,
Same thing happened to him in
you're a Hamilton
Austin.
fan.
The rules are rules.
Funny
Yeah.
that though, isn't it?
I thought
What?
No, but it's funny because didn't Leclerc get disqualified in Austin as well?
Yeah, but I think at that point both cars were for the same reason, weren't they?
Yeah.
This was just pure bad luck that both Ferraris got DQ'd for totally different reasons.
Yeah, so obviously Leclerc and Gasly, their car, after they took the weight, so when they put that front wing back on Charles's car,
Yeah, it was
his car was
799.
weighed in gauge. It was 800.5 kilos. Once they took out the fuel, which they have to take out,
Later.
yep, his car was 799.
Obviously, they have to be 800 for those that
Yeah.
don't know.
And the same
The
with
minimum weight.
Gasly, when they took out Gasly's fuel, his was also 799.
Which you've got to wonder, the fact that they both did the same amount was just a miscalculation by somebody in the team.
Some teams under fuel. Some
No,
teams,
pretty much every F1 under fuels.
Yeah.
yeah, but they bank on
But they
safety cars.
usually expect a couple of safety cars or at least a VSC.
Yeah, they bank on.
You're only hoping for that to happen to bring you back into line, which it didn't. Now, obviously, the drivers can lift and coast and that's safety. Now, obviously, both cars made the end of the race, so they clearly didn't run out of fuel. Now, maybe there was something else. Maybe they lost another fluid. Maybe Leclerc drank too much of his drinks bowl.
And obviously Hamilton's was down to the rear plank again.
Which that's a settle. That's a ride height issue.
Yeah.
First, the car's been set too low.
But even when you saw it, it didn't look like it was like in Austin. It going back last year, you could tell that car had been
Going back, can you remember the Mercs in Australia?
sparking like
Kimmy's car
bollocks.
looked to be running seriously
Oh,
low. They were
Kimmy's,
running.
Kimmy's car was because you could see the
Yeah.
the thing at the front was glowing, starting to get
Yeah.
hot, and it's just like
Yeah, I
Well-
think it was what? Hamilton's rear skid wear was found to be 0.5 millimeter below the limit, which is nothing really.
it doesn't sound much, but under technical regulations and
In the world of F1, that's the minor amounts are big
Yeah.
differences.
Oh yeah,
or in the world of the FIA.
And
means
like I
everything.
say, you've kind of got to have a zero tolerance. You can't say, "Oh, well, it's
Oh,
only a
we
little
know
bit. We'll
that.
let them off."
Yeah.
Because like I say, you draw that. By the time you know it, you're letting everything through.
you can sit and say, well, you let that car through for that weight, or for that size, but we're less than them, but you're doing us, and it's just you can't.
Nah, your rules are your rules, and you stick to them.
Wish we could say that. I wish we could hold that to a point, but that's not the case.
Leave the soapbox alone. We're so close to being done.
All right, I have one question for you both here before we finish and go on to other bits. Obviously, the fastest lap was set by Hamilton
Yeah.
on lap 41. Now, obviously, we know they don't get points for it now. Should that actually stand and not go to Norris?
No.
Illegally when he set that lap.
You cut out. I didn't get everything. Didn't get anything you'd said.
I said you don't know that the car was running illegally when it set that lap.
Yeah, but there's no
I
point.
personally, yeah, the lap was.
Yeah, no, the lap should just stand with Hamilton, not get transferred.
Yeah, that's why I think we're on the same page.
It's just something which I saw obviously on the thing, fastest lap was Hamilton, and it's just, was it or wasn't it? Should it stand or not?
Now, here's a question: do we have a new lap record for China?
Mm, what was the first one? What is the current one?
If you want the answer to that, you're gonna have to give me 2 seconds.
1,
Yeah.
2. I thought so. I think in the sprint, it was deemed that record was set by Hamilton. The sprint qualifying was set as a record, new lap second record, but don't hold me on that.
The last lap record apparently was set by Michael Schumacher in 2004.
I believe it was 1 minute. I want to say yes, it was. I might. We are waiting.
You carry on saying what you're saying a minute.
I think
need
the lap record is a 1:31, but like I said, don't hold me on that. It's a low 1:31.
Well, the fastest lap set by Hamilton was a 1:35.0.
Yeah,
According to what I'm reading here, the Grand Prix circuit, the fastest lap, 32.2 set by Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari F2004 in 2004.
Yes, I've got me book.
Christ,
Got me
I've
book.
got Wikipedia.
Yeah, but this is where I'm. I don't want to.
Actually, let's have a look at something.
Right.
2024.
Lap record. 1 minute 32.238 seconds.
Michael Schumacher.
Michael Schumacher, 2004.
So yeah,
So I was correct.
so yeah, it would be a new lap record.
No, because according to Hamilton's was a 1:35 during the race.
Did you say Schumacher was 1:32?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's a new. So it is a new lap record. It's quicker. Or am I
How is
reading that wrong?
1:35 quicker than 1:32?
I thought he's done 1:30.
According to the F1 site, his fastest lap on lap 41 was a 1:35.0.
Now, are they classing the sprint, one of the sprint laps, as
Yeah,
a new
my
lap
bad.
record?
Yeah.
I mean, his the qualifying times, but I don't think we're 1:30. So obviously, they don't class that. That's not a race lap.
But are they
No,
classing?
I must admit, I don't have fastest lap for sprint here.
No, but are they classing the sprint as a new lap record? That's the thing that I'm wondering here.
Well, I can't imagine anyone's lap in the sprint was 4 seconds faster than his fastest lap race. His race fastest lap race. You know, if the best you can manage in a race was a 1:35, I can't imagine being a lot faster than that during the sprint.
Yeah, it was 1:35.069.
Was during the race, yeah.
Just hard.
I don't think they'll take sprint race. Because it's completely different. Because obviously, with the cars doing a sprint race, it's not fully loaded with fuel because they're only doing 100 kilometers or
Yeah.
19 laps around China. So therefore,
Yeah,
you can't really sit there and say,
no. The lap records.
No, certainly everything I had to hand yesterday hadn't been.
so yeah. We're going on to the fun part now.
Now let's leave that one. We'll leave.
Probably keep quiet because he's probably already looked at this.
So are you alright?
I'm looking at it now. Hang on, who's that one?
Yeah, he's a lot
Yeah.
I work. He's a lot I work with, Simon.
Yeah, well, you can bugger off.
See, but only because he played the no negative chip already. That's why he had a good
Yeah,
one.
but if you look, he also won Australia as well.
It wasn't. Why didn't I see that name in Australia?
Well, he wasn't. He's only added it tonight, but he obviously adds in.
And they did that last year.
Yeah, it didn't do that.
He must have
last
changed
year.
that because, like I say, he only literally can send him a message just before the podcast.
Well, next time, do it bloody afterwards.
So interesting. So yeah, only because Simon, only because he played the no negative. That's how he got away with a hell of a lot there.
Well, no, because
No.
if you look at it, he didn't have any negative points on there anyway.
He played the no negatives.
Yeah, but he didn't have any negative. What Alan's saying is, none of his would have scored negatives anyway.
If it was no negative, it would just come up as 0.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm confused.
Doesn't take a lot.
Oh, no, that's right. We'll go back to that one.
Excuse me, Doohan would have got him negatives.
No, he got -4 from the sprint, but he got 5 and 8 together. So he got the full 11 points instead of getting.
I want to know. So he's got Hadjar. Unless because I know negative, it's worked out different. So he's got Hadjar with 15 points. I've got Hadjar with 11 points.
It says 11 on my screen. Oh no, yeah, because you haven't taken the 4 negative points off.
Yeah, this is what I mean. That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah, but what he's saying is, none of his drivers had negative numbers. You know, there's no zeros there.
But yeah, Hadjar for me has only got 11, whereas he's got 15. So it's not taking the negatives away. That's what.
No, it won't. Yeah. Well, fair enough to him.
Yeah. Well, he's lost that chip now, then, hasn't he?
It's a very early.
Exactly.
It's a very early one to play that.
Yeah, there's a couple of people that have played early chips. I'm thinking, not thinking well about this one, well, are you? Yeah, because Sainz scored me. What did Sainz scored me? 8.
Yeah. Sainz got me 8.
Otto got me 7. McLaren.
Good old Hog got me 2. I mean, poor David got obviously negative 24 for Charles because he had him on 2 times.
Oh, David, you knew what that was gonna do.
To be honest, you're not going to expect the team to get disqualified, so.
No, and he was well after the race that we learnt of that. So I left him to Charles, who's normally a fairly safe pair of hands.
And obviously,
So he doubled the negative.
16 for Alonso again.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm, the only way he's up, as the song goes,
But he scored more points this weekend than he did last weekend.
Yes.
That's not difficult, is it?
Obviously, you.
I have made some team changes before Japan. It won't show in that, obviously, since that shows the result from the.
Yeah.
But I have made a couple of changes, so we'll see. Watch me now do even worse with the changes.
Yeah, I'm keeping to my tip. My drive lineup isn't that bad.
I didn't think mine was, but so far this year.
So obviously, yeah, Alan, and then
Look, I had to dethrone Alan somehow. I just had to bring in a ringer.
I mean, obviously, Chris got more points than me this weekend.
Morgan lost points. Adam,
We lost points in Alpine. Angela lost points on Hamilton, but only 1 point. Mine lost points to Hamilton and
Cal.
Lotto.
then
What?
so
He won sprint race.
all right, yeah, he
So
got
those points
minus
stand.
minus 20 on that. Yeah, no. I was gonna say, and then Ryan
Lost points on Hamilton and Alonso.
and then David lost Leclerc.
On everything.
David lost double points on Leclerc.
Yeah, mine's the old joke. I backed a horse at 10-1. It came in at 3:15.
Yeah.
It's funny because you look at David for Leclerc. David and Leclerc here, it's like, yeah, Australia, he had 12 points, but for China, he's minus 12.
24.
Literally role reversal.
So
And
it's one of
then,
those. It is what it is. We're not done yet.
I mean, I'm
Well, you can tell your mate, I'm
I'm
not happy with
sitting third overall
Yeah.
at this
I'm
point.
now second.
David, you've
David's
got to
lost.
struggle at this point. You're going to have to be pulling something clever to start catching a little bit. I know we're early in the season, but where people are
Look,
over 200
I did
points.
pull something clever and knocked Alan off the top spot, didn't I?
Yeah, you did actually. And you did say we're not going to
I
let
pulled
him.
something clever.
You did
let
say
him
we're not
win.
going to. Yeah, you did say we're not going to let him get beat.
Let him win. I didn't specify that I had to beat him. So
27
what I did was
point
bring in some
difference.
outside assistance.
27-point difference.
Yeah.
Still in the season. It
I
could
don't
all,
care. I was doing really well at the top.
It could all go terribly wrong.
Oh, it could all turn around yet. It
Well,
is what it I mean,
like I
look at
say-
last season how Ryan hunted me down and I just held him off.
Yeah.
But Ryan's currently
So,
sat in
you know, we'll
sixth.
see. Apparently,
Obvi-
Ryan and Logan swapped places this race because
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Because he got better.
There's 10-point difference overall between them.
So I think Ryan will claw that back. I wonder if Ryan is going to make some changes a little bit.
I don't know. I have spoke to him about it.
If I was Ryan, if I was Ryan, I know one change I'd make.
or
And
the
if-
same one that I've already made.
And if I was David, I would know one change I would probably make.
You know what the
Alonso.
annoying thing is, and I haven't looked like Dan, because I made 3 teams. And obviously we're only allowed to run one in the league. I haven't looked if my other 2 teams are both doing better than the one that I've currently got in the league.
That's the problem. I've only made one. I only made one team. Because I was only ever going to do the league. And, yeah, I mean, still, still, what, 22 to go?
Yeah.
Out of a 24 race season? For fuck's sake. Jesus. It's going to be a long season, boys.
Oh, it is.
So, have you got anything else you guys want to add?
Yeah, I want to kick Simon out.
I'll
If you
pass
do,
on my regards
if
to
you,
him.
if Simon does listen to this podcast, David, I do apologise.
Well, I am only joking.
Um,
Dave knows that.
so,
I have nothing to add. No, like I say,
Okay.
there seemed to be a bit of a duller race after the highlight that was Australia,
yeah,
Yeah.
and say the newly surfaced track seemed to perform recoverable. But we'll see. They were very early days. I mean, I'm glad McLaren looks strong. McLaren sort of made a redemption for what happened in Australia, I feel.
Oscar did more like.
But
Right,
yeah, we'll
so-
see. Roll on Japan.
Obviously, Japan on 4th of April, practice 1, 3:30 in the morning till 4:30. Practice 2 is 7
No, Dino's chance.
7 a.m. UK time till 8. And then practice 3 on the 5th of April at 3:30 in the morning till 4:30. Qualifying at 7 till 8 on the 5th. And the race is on the 6th at 6 a.m. Roll on the decent times. Jeez. So, as you know, guys, obviously, episodes are out on a Wednesday. Obviously, thank you to Alan and David for joining.
You're welcome as always.
Been a pleasure.
Obviously, don't forget to come across to the YouTube channel. Link is above. And we shall see you, the one till after Japan. Unless there's some breaking news that Lawson's getting kicked out of Red Bull, and then I might put a bonus, little bit of a bonus between them. We'll soon see.
It'll just be him going, woohoo!
Yeah, quite possibly. But yeah. So we shall see you for the next one. So until then.
Adios, amigos.
Because, Martin, maybe you're not driving them anymore, I suppose.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye for now.